Hi, my name's Henry, and I'm here to give you a quick overview of Slingshot 3.0, the Christmas edition. One of the new tools in Slingshot 3.0 is Link ROPS. If I go ahead and click this and hit Create, I'll use Mantra as my render engine for now. This will create a control panel here. This allows me to link the start end frames, the render camera, and override the resolution for every ROP connected to this. The ROP that's put down with it will automatically be connected, but let's say we have one that isn't. I can select this here, go to Link ROPS, and go Link to Existing Control. If one exists, it'll put all of the expressions in, and then I can easily control where the render camera is, the start end frames, the resolution, across everything. This also works with Arnold and Redshift, and is really easily deployable, like so. Next up, we have lights to points. If we select an object in here, we can go lights to points, build lights, and again, I'm going to just use Mantra as the example. And this is going to create a subnet out here with a whole bunch of lights pinned onto those points. What's happening here is it's looking up a whole bunch of attributes like intensity, exposure, color, and normals in order to predict where those lights should go. If those attributes don't exist, then we have a wrangle here that'll check for them, and if they don't, we put some default in. This is a super quick and fun way to get disco mode in Houdini. In this new tool, let's say I have a really simple rigid body simulation and I want them to be caught in some kind of container. You can obviously compute collisions with various methods, but in this particular instance, I've got an object that looks a bit like this. Really simple. All this is a bunch of faces, and I have initialized primitive normal on each one. What I can do is select this, click this, select my dot network, and hit accept. And then what this has done is create a subnetwork with all of those ground planes aligned correctly onto those primitives. Let's say you have thousands of objects in your scene and you just want to work with the ones that are closest to camera. What I can do is come over here and select this inside my geometry node and hit distance from camera. This will allow me to trim how close to the camera I want to see objects. By default, it will pull in my camera data node, but if I go ahead and delete this and then remove my camera data node from my OTLs directory, select this and go distance from camera, it'll pull in an add and link to the camera this way. My camera data node is more robust, so if you're working with Alembic cameras or some other custom method of bringing them in, especially at a studio, you might want to use that instead. Value over time has also undergone some changes. Now we can select a node, come over here, type in an attribute. I'm going to use the Y transform here. I hit T is vector, I want the Y component. Now we have an interpolation curve. This will make it a lot easier to map between multiple values and generally control the timing of your animation using this method. Create render nodes has also undergone some changes that I have inside here. As usual, I can select every null in a geometry node and come over here and press create render nodes. It'll still create them as expected, but now it'll check to see what's coming in. So in the case of a volume or a primitive, our material node will assign our attribute to be a primitive type attribute. If we're working with points, it'll detect that and it will assign it to be a point attribute and warn us about the fact it's done that. There's also a new hidden feature where if I have a subnetwork called render at the object level, I can come in here, select my nulls again, press create render nodes, and it will automatically put those in the render subnet. I've also updated transform from centroid, so if you now have a transform node selected, automatically it'll detect that and it'll put the $CEX, CY, CZ expression into the pivot translate. However, if you don't have a transform selected, it'll give you two options. You can either place one down and it'll do exactly the same thing, or you can select your object, go for each object, and it'll put it down in a for loop, allowing us to scale per piece. And that's what's been updated in Slingshot, as well as some icon changes and a few bug fixes here or there. You can find this all on my Gumroad as usual. Please let me know what you think and have an excellent Christmas. See you soon.